Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Rec. I'm Jason X.
And I'm Kevin Graham.
And we are getting closer and closer to Halloween. It seems like it is right around the corner.
I can smell it.
You can smell the candy.
I can smell. That's not what I was smelling.
Oh, Child's Fear?
That's pretty good. Yeah, I think let's go with that one.
Okay.
Fits right into the theme of today's topic.
It does. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is the classic versus the modern haunted house. Yes. Now, are you a fan? Starting off,
of which? The classic,
just in general,
the modern,
both. Do you like being scared?
No. I mean, it's a daily trend I go through throughout my entire life.
Sure.
Being scared. No, I'm not a fan of it. I don't mind a good suspenseful situation.
Sure.
Like what's gonna happen next sort of thing.
Okay.
I could do without the big creepy guy jumping out from around the corner trying to stab me, and I don't know whether or not he really wants to stab me because I might have a very stabbable face.
You see, the problem for me is, and I'm kind of in the same boat as you, is I've seen too many TV shows, I've seen too many movies where
I know how it all ends.
Well, not only that, but like where the people go into, this is just a pretend haunted house, but then that's where the murder actually
happens.
Yeah, so like there's been too many of those
those
scenarios for me to trust anybody ever again.
Yeah.
So I just don't, and it's worked out well for me.
Cool.
But I thought today we could talk about the evolution, the progression of the haunted house. Nowadays, yeah.
Like, I don't like the idea that you need to sign a waiver.
Yeah,
that says, "Hey, you can't sue us
for what's about to happen."
Anything and it's like you see some of these videos, and I'm like, "Oh, well, that's a fun time at the movies." Not sure I want to do that.
All right. Well, before we get into all that, let's turn the clock back.
Okay.
A little bit. We're gonna do a little bit of a rewind here. How old were you the first time you went into a haunted house?
I'm not sure. I didn't really do haunted houses as a kid. I worked at one. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, well, I'm sure.
It was fun being on the other side. I never really did haunted houses as a kid because I was not really into the horror scene.
Right.
And I definitely wasn't into like getting scared. Like I didn't watch scary movies. I wasn't as big of a fan of Halloween as I am now. So I kind of avoided all of that.
Okay.
There were some experiences that I went through as a child that traumatized me.
Okay.
Wax museums and
yes.
Animatronics.
That's where my daughter's at right now. She is deathly afraid of those things.
Well, it's like they've got those dead eyes, but they're moving.
It was amazing because we went into Spirit, and my daughter, like I said, is afraid of those. And I have the infant son who loves them.
Okay,
he gets a kick out of them.
Sure,
right?
Yeah.
Right as you leave Spirit Halloween, they have this giant devil angel.
Okay.
Okay. And of course they have like the step pad to activate it,
Yeah.
right? So
I still avoid those.
So like we're checking out, we're getting whatever we need, and we're about to walk out. And of course I'm walking up to the thing, right?
Oh yeah, sure.
And my daughter is pleading with me. She's like, "Daddy, please don't do it.
You're that guy.
Let's just go."
Yeah.
And so I've got my daughter in one hand, my infant son I'm holding.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, I've already made up my mind. Like, this is happening, right?
Which 5 years of being traumatized.
Whatever.
Step.
Well, the thing is, like, as soon as I go to step, my daughter lets go of my hands and turns around.
Yeah.
And doesn't look.
Sure.
Which is fine. So I step on it. The thing, like, jolts and pops up or whatever. My infant son jumps a mile.
Really?
Like, it does one of those, like, not only jumps, but, like, does, like, two smaller jumps afterwards.
Oh,
He's
okay.
so terrified, and, like, he looks at the thing with just, like, the biggest eyes he's ever seen. And then he just starts laughing.
Oh, okay.
He starts laughing his ass off. And I'm just like, this is my guy.
Yeah,
this is my little guy.
You might want to check on that in a few years, but good for him.
Okay, that's fair. But I was like 6.
Really?
The first time my dad brought me into a haunted house. And I remember like really wanting to go.
Okay.
Like really being like, because back in the day, folks, at least for us, haunted houses were like something that was made up in the parking lot of the mall or something.
Like
you know?
you did them in the mall parking lot. People did them in their backyards. I mean, people still in the area do them in their yards and whatnot.
That was another thing I was going to bring up, and we'll get to that in a minute. But like I remember being like 6, being like, let's go into the haunted house, and like I remember there being like a line out the goddamn door. For this thing. So my dad, being the responsible man that he is, was just like, sure, let's go.
Sure.
And
why not? Yeah.
And brought me in there, and it scared the ever-loving shit out of
me.
It terrified me forever.
Yeah.
I can still see the day glow.
I remember Boy, it was the 90s, wasn't it?
Oh, it was the 90s.
Because I remember, trick-or-treating in my neighborhood. We had a huge neighborhood, and, we went a couple blocks down, and, like, over by where our school was, there was a house that did a haunted house through their garage into their backyard and then back out the other side. And I remember, like, we're crossing that block, and I just see, like, 3 kids come bolting down the street screaming, and there's a guy chasing after them.
Holy shit.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's intense. I'm not going in that.
Okay.
And just kept going. And I was like I kind of got the gist of it, and I was like, you know what? I feel like I've seen all I really need to see.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, and that's another thing that's really gone by the wayside is the homemade haunted house. You know, the converting of the garage into the haunted house.
Well, I mean, there's, I'm sure, somewhat of that fear.
Well, that's kind of where
do you really want your kids going through somebody's garage?
But the thing is, like everything that we worry about now, and especially me as being a parent, like worrying about now.
Oh yeah.
All that shit existed back when we were kids.
Yeah.
Just nobody ever talked about it. So
sometimes they still don't.
That's very true. So like all these like I remember my parents were like, "Oh, it's Halloween. Have at it.
Have at
go,
it. This is the one time a year to go do
be
it. Be
back by 10."
Right.
Kind of thing, you know. So I remember like every other house, you had to go through a haunted house to get your candy at the end of it, kind of thing. And you're lucky if the porch light's on nowadays. It's a tough sell. Halloween.
I mean, where I live, it's not really a kid-heavy neighborhood.
Well, you're in the apartment thing,
so
which is a strange
but
thing.
I mean, like we still have a lot of families, but it's also like a bad area to like let your kids run around because I'm surrounded by main roads.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of high-speed traffic going through. So, like, not the most walkable area, I'd say.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I haven't really had too much experience with there being, like, a lot of porch lights out, aside from, like, this past year.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, it does seem like maybe there's not as much interest and the whole letting your kids go out?
Yeah, I think it's this overwhelming fear nowadays that everybody has. I mean, it's not the 90s anymore. These are uncertain times, We've got, we don't know what tomorrow brings, kind of thing. There's no stabilization.
Just traces of Dayglow. Just sprinkled about.
Not only that, but like Dayglow, lights up the streets more, more visibility for kids. We need to bring back the Dayglow. Is what I'm trying to say. But could you get away nowadays with an elaborate haunted house in your garage or something?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, I do think that there are still people that are doing it. It's just very few and far between. It's not going to be as, you're not going to see them popping up as often as, you were probably 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say every neighborhood probably has one, maybe or half of one. Maybe it's just like some guy on his porch, like hanging out, pretending like he's a dead body.
Yeah, I mean that's that thing where the people have like the bowl of candy over the chair that's draped in cloth, but really there's somebody under the draped cloth that come out and scare you. Like that's more of like a scare, not a haunted house type of situation kind of thing. I think nowadays, like if you really want the haunted house experience, you kind of got to look to the theme parks to do it.
Like the theme parks or like the haunted attractions that roll through town. Like we've got the big one that comes to the fairgrounds every year. Friday nights at the fair. I've never done it.
I have done it.
Oh, how is it?
It's okay.
Okay.
Like it's one of those things where it costs you $18 to get in. If you go online, there's a $3 coupon. Every single time. Pro tip.
Saving.
Yeah. So like you pay $15, you get to do like 5 haunted houses and a hayride kind of thing for $15.
Like we almost did a hayride the other day, and like I vaguely know what a hayride is.
Okay.
Cause I remember one time somebody was explaining it to me, and then I was like, okay, and then like I forgot about it, and then I keep hearing like, oh yeah, we're going on a hayride. And I'm like, but like, what do you really do? Because I've never experienced one.
Sure. So basically, the hayride situation is, you're in a tractor, full of hay.
Sure, I figured as much.
You're sitting on hay barrels, basically.
Sure, yeah.
In this tractor. And the idea is that you go on this hay ride. The tractor pulls you through basically either like a cornfield or some remote location to where scare actors come out of like the corn or whatever the case might be. Some of them jump onto the wagon. Some of them just kind of
what do they do when they jump on the wagon?
Well, typically the one that jumps on the wagon is the guy with the chainsaw, who like flails it around and stuff like that. And
see, now here's the issue I have with that. So if I'm on a haunted hayride, I know it's a haunted hayride. I know that there are now I know that there are likely people coming out from wherever to be like, boo and shit.
Yeah.
And that there's going to be a guy that jumps on there. Like when that happens, am I really scared?
But it's the same concept of like going into one of these haunted houses. You know you're going into a haunted house.
See, now, okay, and I'm going to pitch you something here.
Okay.
Because you go into a haunted house, you don't really know what to expect.
Sure.
You know there's something behind door number 1, but you don't quite know what it is.
Sure.
And there's a lot of spooky corners and, hidden trap doors that, you know that you're going in for a specific experience, but you might not know what that experience is going to be. I feel like with a haunted hayride, because you're really stationary the entire time.
Well, I mean, you're moving.
Well, yeah, I mean, you yourself are stationary. The cart around you is moving.
All right, that's fair.
And, the people can't really touch you. It's not like one of those extreme haunted houses where they touch your butthole and stuff.
It's frowned upon.
Yes, they're
listen,
not supposed to touch you.
I remember going on a hayride as a kid, okay? And I just remember them saying, and it was one of those things where, like, back in the day when, like, you knew your neighbors and, the neighborhood went on a hayride and all the kids went together. And I kind of remember overhearing, like, the girl down the street saying, my mom just kept on saying Beetlejuice was real handsy.
Oh!
And I'm like, okay. So...
say that name 3 times.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
But yeah, like, I feel like just the stationary, where you're going through the cornfield or the woods or whatever, and then there's, like, ghosts that are climbing up. And like, what I would like to see is a haunted hayride where you get on it, and you've got to fucking run for your life.
Oh, my God.
You get about 20 yards deep, and you hit a bump, and the fucking wheel falls off. And it's like, ladies and gentlemen, just please, let's everybody just stay here. Feel free to walk about, but don't go too far. We're, somebody's going to come and fix this. We'll get you back up and going. Like, it's an immersive experience.
I was going to say, you're looking less for a haunted hayride, more for a haunted experience.
Exactly. So, like, the guy comes with the wheel. He's like, oh, hey, folks, we'll get this right up. Boom. Dude comes out from behind a tree with a goddamn axe, cuts his head off.
Oh, and then, that's high budget, I guess.
I mean, it's a fantasy here.
Okay.
So, and then you gotta you have to press forward without the wagon, and there's now people who are, coming after you, and then you got one guy who's like, oh, come on, follow me, and then, he gets sliced.
Oh, can we combine this with one of those murder theater dinner experiences?
Why not? We can do whatever we want. This is our show.
like essentially what you would do is you would go on
Right.
with unsuspecting people that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So some of those people are going to be actors.
Yeah.
In this play.
Oh, you have people on the wagon who are actors.
Yes.
You don't know it.
And then they get killed. That's an experience.
But that's an experience.
Write
that
it
is
down.
experience. Write that down.
Trademark
this show. That is what we were doing next year.
Boom.
Boom.
We need a loan.
We do need a loan. If you have money and you want to fund this idea, you let us know. Send us a shout at brainrockshow@gmail.com. We almost gave out the wrong email.
Or you can hit us up on Twitter at BrainWreckShow.
Yes. Facebook.com/BrainRockShow. And subscribe. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, some cool things that you might have for your haunted hayride. Remember, if you comment with an idea, we are legally allowed to use that idea and our idea, but we will share the wealth.
Yeah. Well, intellectually.
Intellectually and from a friendship standpoint.
That's right.
Yes.
So for this Brain Wreck, I've been Jason Axe.
I'm Kevin Graham.
And this has been your Daily Wreck.